Good evening. Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, has died at the age of 99, 2 months short of his 100th birthday. The senior royal and the life companion of the Queen was the longest-serving consort of a reigning British monarch. The Duke had suffered failing health in recent years and retired from royal duties in 2017. In a statement from Buckingham Palace, the royal family says it is with deep sorrow that Her Majesty the Queen announces the death of her beloved husband, His Royal Highness the Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. His Royal Highness passed away peacefully this morning at Windsor Castle. Further announcements will be made in due course. The royal family join with people around the world in mourning his loss. And joining me now live from London is SBS Chief International Correspondent Ben Lewis. Ben, a sad day for the monarchy. What's the immediate reaction there?
Ricardo, good evening. A sad day for the monarchy, but also for the people of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. Here at Buckingham Palace, the flag is now at half-mast. That is the same across all palaces in the UK and many government buildings as well. And over the last hour or so, we've seen people arriving at the palace gates to look at the official announcement, which has been placed there on an easel. A few hundred people now milling outside the palace. A short time ago, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson spoke to the nation from Downing Street.
He was the longest-serving consort in history, one of the last surviving people in this country to have served in the Second World War. At Cape Matapan, where he was mentioned in dispatches for bravery, and in the invasion of Sicily, where he saved his ship by his quick thinking. From that conflict, he took an ethic of service that he applied throughout the unprecedented changes of the post-war era. Like the expert carriage driver that he was, he helped to steer the royal family and the monarchy so that it remains an institution indisputably vital to the balance and happiness of our national life. We remember the Duke for all of this, and above all, for his steadfast support for Her Majesty the Queen. Not just as her consort, by her side every day of her reign, but as her husband, her strength and stay of more than 70 years. And it is to Her Majesty and her family that our nation's thoughts must turn today, because they have lost not just a much-loved and highly respected public figure, but a devoted husband and a proud and loving father, grandfather, and in recent years, great-grandfather.
The Queen famously described Prince Philip as her strength and stay. He was always there, a few steps behind her at public events, and was the person she always relied on for reliable counsel. He will be sadly missed not only by the royal family, but by many here in Britain and right around the world. He had been unwell recently. He was taken to hospital a few weeks ago to be treated for an infection. While in hospital, he also underwent a operation for a pre-existing heart condition. He was released a couple of weeks ago and went back to Windsor Castle to see the Queen, which is where he passed away this morning. Let's take a look back now at his extraordinary life. Plans for Prince Philip's funeral have been in place for many years now, as is the case with all senior members of the royal family. However, it's understood there might have to be some changes due to restrictions because of the coronavirus pandemic, probably less opportunity for members of the public to play their part. The Duke himself had said repeatedly that he did not want a fuss made, turning down the option of a full state funeral, instead asking for what's described as a royal ceremonial funeral, which will likely have a bit of a military theme to it. It is expected to be held at St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle, with his burial to take place nearby. We're still waiting official confirmation from the palace as to when that will be happening. Ricardo, the Queen will now enter a period of 8 days of mourning. She will not undertake any official engagements for another 30 days. There is some expectation that she may release a statement, speak on camera at some point in the coming days. Incredibly sad day for her, the royal family, and for the United Kingdom.
OK, Ben Lewis there in London. Thank you. Let's return now to Ben Lewis. He's standing by in London. Ben, what is the mood like right there now?
Yeah, Ricardo, incredibly sombre mood, really, here at the Palace. I've been here for a couple of hours now, and you can see the flag is at half-mast, and there is a crowd of a few hundred people probably now outside the gates going to see that easel where the official announcement was being put up. Normally, the police would disperse any sort of crowd here because of coronavirus restrictions. That is not happening at the moment, and when the news was actually announced, but the Palace sent out an email and put out a tweet, the BBC then went to black and played God Save the Queen, a quite remarkable moment, something that, of course, we all knew was probably likely to happen. He had been unwell for some time now, but still a very sad moment nonetheless.
And what are you expecting to happen today, especially in an era of COVID-19 also?
Yeah, well, that's the question, isn't it? What will the authorities allow here? Because there will be many thousands of people who want to pay their respects and thank Prince Philip for a life of extraordinary service here at Buckingham Palace and out at Windsor Castle. We know that there will be virtual condolences books made available for people. It's not going to be a full state funeral, but a royal ceremonial funeral, so there will be less chance for the public to be involved, to pay their respects. Today we're going to hear more tributes from political leaders here and right around the world, and we know that early next week the House of Commons will be recalled here so that politicians can put on the record their respect for Prince Philip as well.
And Ben, many decades of service, what do you think will be his lasting legacy?
Well, it's likely he would have wanted the Duke of Edinburgh award scheme to be his ultimate legacy. It was a program he was incredibly proud of. So many young people around the world have been through it. That really was his pride and joy. But we've heard him say before that his ultimate role in life was one of supporting the monarch, supporting the Queen, supporting his wife. It would not have been easy. He was a proud man. He was a Navy man. He gave up his naval career to support the Queen, and he did so with humility, and she respected him greatly for it, as did the nation.
And just finally, he obviously had a connection with Australia as well, visiting more than 20 times, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. A very strong connection with Australia. He always enjoyed his trips there, whether by himself or with the Queen by his side. He did make some controversial, some offhand comments that weren't particularly well received at times, but he was a man of his generation, and he was unapologetic at what were later to be known as his sort of trademark gaffes. But he had a real affinity for Australia and the rest of the Commonwealth. It's a country he wasn't able to visit for quite some time now. Neither has the Queen, but we heard from the Governor-General that the thoughts of many Australians will be with the royal family tonight.
OK. Ben Lewis there in London, thank you very much.